Zohran Mamdani, who won his primary race, has been pissing off everyone, not just on the right, but also on the center. I don't want to say center left because it's not really center left, but he's been pissing the establishment off in right, in the center left, and it is so satisfying to watch. And you have Charlie Kirk, who the less that I say about him and the less that I say about the way he looks, it's better. I want to be respectful as I can, but he loses his mind over something that Zohran does, which even I do, which most South Asians do. I mean, at least South Indians, where my family's from. I do this every single day. But if this is the worst that you can come up with, out of everything, if you dug deep into him, they spent millions of dollars digging in deep on this dude. If this is like one of the worst things you can come up with, that really says something. This is funny. I have to warn you, this is incredibly funny. And the way that Charlie Kirk describes this as a signal of the third world, quote, he says that, this is just, I have no words.
We in the West value cleanliness. We have utensils. We teach our kids to use utensils. They say, well, what about burgers and pizza? Yeah, that food is designed that way. Rice, since we have utensils, you don't eat it because we're not in the third world with your hands. He's doing this to signal his third world cred. So think about it. To get credibility in the New York mayor's race, you have to pretend to be in the third world. People say, well, he's just being himself. He's so authentic. Okay, if a third worlder comes and starts defecating on the side of the street in Times Square, are we going to say, boy, he's being his true and authentic self? He's really being wonderful. No, we have standards in the West. And in some of the comments of a TikTok video I made, people said, but Charlie, who are you to judge other cultures? No. That's the point. We in Western culture believe that our way of life is the best. We're better than Mohammedism.
I don't want to say anything about his face. I don't want to say anything about the way he looks. I don't want to say anything about the size of his face compared to the size of his head. We want to be respectful. We want to, take what he's saying at face value. So he's losing his mind over Zohran eating with rice. And this is something that I'm deeply passionate about. Because honestly, when I eat, I would say 90% of my food I eat with my hands. I feel like, like spoons, forks, utensils are nice for like Asian food, noodles and whatnot. But rice, if you're eating rice with a fork and spoon, I think that is such a waste of time and so pointless. Even people who eat Indian food, who eat it with, utensils, maybe it's because the way that I've been brought up, it was always with our hands. Maybe it's a South Indian thing. I know that a lot of people in South India do that. Everything we eat is with our hands. The only thing that I use my fork or spoon for is if I'm eating something like noodles, if I'm eating something like pasta. But even pasta, honestly, like when no one's watching, I would put the fork aside and eat with my hands. I don't know if that's... I don't care. It's comfortable. It's so much easier to eat and it's so much easier to like mix the sauce with the pasta. But having this freakazoid lose his mind over the way that Zohran eats, that, like, I'm not going to lie, like, a lot of people in the northern part of India, they don't usually eat with their hands, or as far as I know, they don't eat with their hands as much as South Indians do. So Zohran eating with his hands is literally like, I have so much respect for him, because I know that his parents are from the northern part of India and his dad's from Gujarat, but they don't usually eat with their hands. They don't, as far as I know, from the people, the Gujaratis that I've met, that I've been around, they don't like to eat with their hands. But Zohran eating with his hands, that's, bro, like, I love him even more. You cannot make me hate this guy. I mean, I don't hate him. I love him. I love him for his politics. I love him for his mum, who I was always a big fan of growing up. And I love him for his dad, who I recently found out about how he was, how he came to this country, and like it's such his entire family is such an inspiring story, and like it just makes sense that they would give birth to Zohran Mamdani, his dad and his mom.
Just for the record, people have pointed out to you, pizza, burgers, hot dogs, eat with their fingers. But I don't think you can separate Mamdani's performance and what he's saying from the way he is projecting himself eating rice with his fingers. He is rejecting what we have developed as Western civilization.
And he puts these videos out online of him eating rice with his hands, which, by the way, is not something that Americans do. That is third world behavior. And that is connected to his policies. You know, the goal here is to undermine Western civilization, to fetishize the third world, which is what he's doing in that video, to look other, to look unique, to look interesting, so that he can then push in these policies. You know, the next step after that is he's gonna make another video in a couple of years, but instead of having a bowl of rice, it's gonna be an empty bowl, because that's where his policies are gonna get us.
It's not a rejection of a multicultural society unless the point of your cultural mores is to openly reject the place in which you have immigrated.
I think it's so funny that he brings up the empty bowl thing, saying that his policies is going to lead to him having an empty bowl, when there's millions of Americans right now who cannot afford to eat. And in fact, Trump just passed his big, beautiful bill, which cuts food stamps for so many people in poverty. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more people with empty bowls. And that's so messed up. Like, these people claim to be, conservatives, claim to be people of God, yet they literally doing things that not even the devil would do, by cutting food stamps for the poor, by cutting Medicaid funding, trillions of dollars of Medicaid funding being cut just to pass Trump's tax cuts for the rich. But that aside, like, it is so funny to me that these guys think this is the end of the world. They're losing their minds because this is the best that they've got. And they can't shit on Trump because that's their guy. They can't shit on Trump. They can't shit on his policies, because if they do, they're going to lose all credibility with the MAGA movement. So, like, honestly, seeing Zohran eat with his hands, like I said, that is like one of the favorite things that I think he's done. And he's done a lot of good things. His policies aside, in terms of just videos that he's made, things that he's done, policies aside, him eating with his hands, I would say easily like top 3 things that he's done that I love. Because it just shows that he's authentic. He doesn't care about what people think. And he's true to his own cultural roots. And you can tell that by the way that he still speaks his language, that he's still completely fluent with his language, that he's still so culturally rooted. I mean, he is Mira Nair's son, so it makes sense that he still has, he's not a coconut. He still has deep cultural roots. But I think that is a plus for America. I think that is what makes him who he is. This whole thing is so silly. And I know that it's just going to get worse and worse. And, until the general elections, they're going to be attacking Zohran on literally everything. And not just conservatives. You have, the Democrats as well. The establishment Democrats try to attack him. So it's going to be fun. I hope he stays strong. But I know that, he's got the support. He's got the people power to cut through all the bullshit that's going to come his way.